Amazon will acquire Patreon. This is my bold prediction for 2025 because Amazon, for several reasons that we're going to discuss in this video, will need a membership management website to combine with their fulfillment opportunities and their recent investment in one of the major creator economy companies. What sparked this idea? Very simple. This news article. When I saw the fact that Amazon is investing in Spotter, which is one of the massive creator economy companies, if you're not familiar, they're essentially licensing the back catalogs from the creators and offer them cash in return, upfront cash, which allows the creators to go invest in their business, maybe take some money off the table, buy a house, some other major investment in their personal life. There are many opportunities that Spotter sets creators up for their growth. And when it comes to Amazon, it's very interesting that out of all the creator economy businesses, Amazon decided to go and invest in Spotter. From the perspective of logic, it makes a lot of sense for me because when you think about Amazon, they have massive platform to sell products. They've actually been doing something interesting. If you're not familiar with this feature, and let me share you, that's called essentially shoppable videos. Amazon have been trying to create almost like a QVC-like experience based on the products that they sell on the platform. A lot of it is actually catered towards the creators to help the creators grow their alternative monetization opportunities. And you can kind of like go through, here's Amazon Live, and kind of like look at who is broadcasting what kind of products they're promoting, what kind of things that they potentially almost like reviewing live. So it's definitely a combination of the old, which is the QVC, if you're not familiar, in the United States. That's a channel dedicated purely to shopping, which was replicated globally. For the creators, some creators have been making videos like this. It's not uncommon for shop hauls, makeup videos, tech tutorials, and reviews to pretty much turn into the selling opportunity for the creator who goes and essentially promotes the products that they're talking about in the video, or just casually drops some referral links, some links that will allow them to make additional income from that content. Nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely fine. And as long as it's disclosed and they tell people when and how they acquired the product, in my opinion, everything is fine. Now, coming all the way back to Spotter, and the reason why it's important, I think, from the perspective of the creator economy, I think Amazon realized when you start scrolling through all these different products that they sell today, a lot of them have very generic names. A lot of them very likely also either owned by Amazon and created as a sort of their third-party brand, or they actually, if you're not familiar, have a dedicated brand that fully covers and essentially replicates some of the highest selling products, which I'm sure also carry with a decent amount of margin. How they do that and why they decide to pick things like bath tissues, toilet paper, or baby wipes is very simple. They have the data. Amazon's biggest advantage right now in this marketplace is the fact that whether you are a third-party reseller on their website, first-party reseller who ships to Amazon warehouses for Amazon to fulfill the orders, you all give data to Amazon. So Amazon, across all the product lines, all the different things that are listed on their website, can always tell which products are hot, how much are they sold, where they're buying from. Every single data point of the interaction on the Amazon website feeds into the general machine in that learning algorithm that I'm sure Amazon is running. And if you come back to some of these products, the reason why they pick those products is based on that data. Now, combine that data with the creators. What is one thing is missing from all of these products? Branding. They're either completely random brand names or Amazon Basic, which I highly doubt drives a lot of passion towards the product. It's a utility, it's a cheaper product, and people just buy it. But what if Amazon discovers that there are certain product lines that are highly popular, maybe undersupplied, and there's an opportunity for them to go and create a fulfillment production behind it with a brand to go and sell fashion items, accessories, things of that nature? This is where you come back and you ask yourself, wait a second, is that the reason why Amazon is investing in Spotter? In my opinion, it is, because with them partnering with a company that is very analytical when it comes to content generation, the kind of content works on the platform, Spotter has been slowly amassing a lot of data through the marketplace with the full consent of the creators, but also through, I'm sure, other resources to understand and analyze what works in the creator economy. And now when you combine something like this with the Amazon products, you essentially give that additional boost to the product categories that might potentially be underserved today, but with the help of, say, a creator who've been pointed to that particular product category, or maybe even in the future world, who knows, partners with Amazon to co-brand some of those products, they can go and start completely revolutionizing certain industries and certain areas. And it's going to be done with the creator promoting and essentially playing the role of the chief marketing officer, chief brand officer, whatever they might call it, while Amazon takes care of all the logistics on the back end, from the production to design to fulfillment to shipping and any kind of like customer support, which is ideal for a lot of creators who don't want to deal with this kind of like complexity of running the business. A great example of similar deal and transaction, Ryan Trahan and Joyride. Many people assumed that Joyride, when it was released, it was completely built from scratch with Ryan Trahan, which is incorrect. Joyride has been there for a couple of years, I think. They've raised money. They've been running out of money. It wasn't necessarily selling as well, so they took on that partnership with Ryan Trahan. They put the branding that was combination of their prior legacy brand and Ryan Trahan's name and re-released the product, and now they cannot keep the stock of that product because it just sells out everywhere. They're becoming one of the top sellers in Target and many other product lines. They are essentially growing that business on that combination of, hey, as a brand, we're going to take care of all the fulfillment, logistics, production. You as a creator, just help us sell this thing. Now TohirT, you spend the last 5 minutes talking about the products and different kind of like data that Amazon has. Why Patreon? And here's why. When you think about coming back to some of those videos that I showed you, right, on Amazon's page, they're very generic. It's not something that Amazon necessarily, I think, should spend time on in terms of like building out an actual video platform. Because I highly doubt if Amazon creates a video platform that is very much dedicated to selling the products, people will be regularly visiting unless they're really interested in buying something. So why do the heavy lifting of trying to create a video platform, but also there's no need to go and maybe overpopulate Amazon Prime with content? You can go and continue to leverage people posting things for free on YouTube, but then you can create a special environment with the help of Patreon, with that acquisition, where essentially creators can create a funnel, right? You have, say, YouTubers, TikTokers posting their content for free on those platforms. They start creating membership pages on Patreon that drives folks into that essentially platform where maybe there's some extra content, maybe there's some extra features behind the scenes, things that people are doing already and have been doing on Patreon already for years. But what if now first product drop announcements, participation in the product research and product design, maybe even free samples of product to provide feedback are all shared as part of that membership. So you're kind of like starting to add additional perks for the fans who are true fans of the creator and they want to help creator grow their business. But for Amazon, it becomes like a small laboratory where they can start testing things and say like, what if this creator will participate in the production of this product? Instead of throwing it out there and risking the entire brand and risking the creator's brand, get the creator to have that Patreon page, get their diehard fans into that Patreon community, and then go and start maybe teasing them and saying like, what do you think about this product versus that product? They would love to participate and help the creator because they'll feel part of it. For Amazon, they start gathering even more data and more precise data because of the fact that it's very much based on the audience and the folks who are within those communities who are really big fans of those creators. Can they create it from scratch? Sure. But when it comes to Patreon, that's something I was looking at and saying, hey, there's Patreon, there's Discord, probably right now two primary competitors who go about creating closed-in communities for diehard fans. If you look at something like Discord for a second, it's an expensive company. I would say it's actually overpriced. I love Discord, it's a great tool, but 15 billion valuation seems a lot, especially considering the fact that, I don't want to go too deep into it, but let's say from the product and feature perspective, that's a very high price target for a company that, yes, provides great service, but doesn't necessarily create something revolutionary that no one else can replicate. So that's a lot of money. But then you look at Patreon valuation and it's 1.5 billion, literally 10 times less. It's 10% of the valuation of a company like Discord. In my opinion, 1.5 billion for Patreon is bargain price. It's like one of those unique finds that you go in a store, everything is on a discount, and your specific thing that you really need, that everywhere is at the full price, here is cost 90% off. Like literally, that's how big of a bargain Patreon can find. And 1.5 billion for the company of the size of Amazon is nothing. I think they burn more cash per quarter on Twitch right now. So for them to acquire Patreon, it will enable them to essentially start creating that funnel from the free content to the exclusive pages with diehard fans to potentially some of the products that Amazon sells. And at that point, sure, they can keep that QVC-like experience on their website, but it's not necessarily as necessary because I think, in my opinion, if I'm managing Amazon, or at least that specific area, instead of having random creators, so I'm sure doing a fine job, everyone has work to do. What if I just find the creators that are very popular and very knowledgeable in those areas, those industries, and I make them faces of those categories, and I enable them through all of these different pieces that Amazon has today, to go and enable that funnel and enable the creators to go provide recommendations about these products and make some money in the process. Sure, there'll be creators who will not be fully settled with the idea like, hey, I'm selling the products that maybe I'm reviewing. It seems kind of like in the gray moral area, and there's a lot of things that you need to kind of like think through in terms of rules of engagement and what is good and what is maybe not the perfect type of promotion that Amazon can set up with the creators, but that's all doable. You can figure it all out. But when it comes to specifically providing that place for the creators to roam, providing an opportunity for them to monetize in different ways their content beyond just free websites like YouTube, like Instagram, like TikTok, you creating an atmosphere that is very creator friendly. And now if you bring it again back to someone like Spotter, today Spotter is an amazing tool. Spotter enables me to go in and essentially brainstorm. I can even quickly demonstrate. So Spotter already has a tool which is called Spotter Studio, and essentially what it allows me to do today is brainstorm video ideas. I can go in and I can essentially get a bunch of different ideas for videos, and I can go and I essentially say, hey, I really like this one, let me go explore it, give me additional options of that idea. So they're already providing a lot of feedback for the creators based on the data that they store for the video ideas and the packaging. Now take it a step further and say they know your audience, they know the kind of content they enjoy. Can they extrapolate what kind of products or product categories that audience is interested in, and can then Spotter feed the ideas of products or brands to the creator? It's a tall ask, and it's a big idea, and it's not even an original idea necessarily, right? Something like this, Aaron de Bavois, who is the CEO of Spotter, mentioned on his interview with Colin and Samir recently, like in the last couple of weeks. So it's not an original idea. That's something they've been kind of like, I guess, toying around and debating. But I want to take it a step further, and I want to say this is actually a great thing to develop. Sure, there's a lot of different data that you need to provide for the creator based on something like this, and it's not going to be accessible to a lot of creators, right? You need to be very specific, kind of like that bullseye from the perspective of you're interested in creating this kind of product, you're interested in expanding your monetization options, you want to be kind of like a little bit more business oriented, and Spotter needs to capture enough of interesting information for them to be able to justify and recommend to you certain product categories. But if you tie that with the Amazon's data and the type of things that they can create from the fulfillment perspective, you're creating a very powerful monetization opportunity for the creator, and you're also creating something that is a step above of something like Fourth Wall, Fan of a Fan, or some of those other companies that are mostly focused on creating merch brands, like apparel brands for the creators. Amazon can blow up that model and essentially produce any kind of product. You want your battery chargers, you want headphones, you want, I don't know, dishwashing liquid, whatever that might be. If that is a fit for your audience, this is something that Amazon can potentially fulfill for you. And it's great for them because they can take over that category. They'll, of course, feed the algorithm with the right information to make sure it's rated highly. And from the perspective of any other step that Amazon needs to take to promote that product, they can handle it. And if they need to provide the support, if they need to provide replacements, things of that nature, they'll be able to handle it without the creator having to spend a single dime or a moment of their time. They'll probably won't own them. Very likely won't own much of the brand from the equity perspective, but from the monetization perspective, it just takes it to a whole nother level from just simple referral links. Now, there are a lot of ifs, buts in this conversation, right? You need to be very thoughtful about how it's promoted to the audience. You need to think about quality of the products and ensuring that the quality of the product is not negatively reflecting on the creator brand. As a creator, you need to ensure your audience actually needs it in the first place, right? So you really need to understand your audience. You really need to understand the kind of things they would want to consume and at what price points and when, right? So those are kind of like your standard variables that any creator needs to work through, but especially the one that, say, wants to take advantage of something like that relationship between Spotter and Amazon. And then bringing it into the world of Patreon, you also have to be thoughtful about how does that reflect on the communities that are already on Patreon, and also how is it reflective of that dynamic between your free video and kind of like the videos and the content hidden behind the paywall, which has been solved already. But in my proposed idea of Amazon acquiring Patreon, the dynamic might start shifting, and Amazon might be tempted to go and take advantage of that platform, kind of like blow it up with all sorts of products that they want to promote to it. So you kind of have to find that careful balance, and you have to ensure that you don't disrupt the great environment that the Patreon created from the perspective of creating communities for their creators. And for the creators themselves, they need to ensure that that idea to monetize does not blow up their brand and their relationship with the audience that they've built and probably cultivated for the past decade, if not more. So there's a lot of these interesting positions and points that you kind of have to think through. And as a creator, you need to ensure that you talk enough to your friends, your family, your partners, business partners, anyone who is there to help you. Because companies like Amazon, companies like Patreon, Spotter, they will always give you great ideas. But are they the right fit? And is it something you want to do personally with your life? That's your decision. And you should never chase money. I always say, chase the opportunity that brings you closer to that target, that North Star that you have in your mind. And it's okay sometimes to express some discipline and say no to opportunities, no matter how lucrative they are. And I've made videos about that. And there's probably going to be 10 other videos in the future about me specifically talking about how to think through that process. But as much as I love the idea of Amazon acquiring someone like Patreon and creating that pipeline for the content and the products that they can support creators with and help them achieve the financial independence, you always have to be thoughtful with how you manage your brand, because there are many opportunities that are on your table today. But if you say yes to only the right things and discipline enough to say no to many other things that will be a distraction, your type of opportunities and their size will likely increase over time if you play your cards right. So this is one of those important aspects of, there will be always interesting innovations, but as a creator, you always have to think about what is my ultimate goal, and whether this idea, this, say, promotion on Amazon and using Amazon to develop a product category is actually something that fits your goal personally. So I hope this was useful, a little bit rambly, but it just got me going from the perspective of, it's great that Spotter gets an investment. I really like Spotter as a company. I think they're doing a lot of great things. Amazon themselves, it's an interesting brand. They have a lot of, tentacles and different things. So there are opportunities for the creators, maybe even build more high-end content for the streaming service, put it on Amazon Prime. So Amazon can truly become a big supporter for the creators. And the good news, they don't need to do a lot of heavy lifting because infrastructure is already there. They should stick to the things that they're familiar with and rely on platforms like YouTube to allow free content, or acquire companies like Patreon to enable more behind the paywall content. And then they can stick to their product categories and work that magic. So from that perspective, I think there's a lot of good things that can be done. There's a lot of great economic value that can be extracted from this kind of process. So I'm curious to see how it's going to go. This is my still prediction. I'm sticking to it. I think Amazon will acquire Patreon if they want to play their cards right with this relationship. And I think they're going to continue to grow their partnership with the creators and the creator economy, thanks to companies like Patreon or investments in Spotter. And we'll see. I'm very curious to observe how it all transpires in the next couple of years. But from the perspective of the creator economy, I think it's a good thing as long as it's done in measure. So I hope you found this video useful. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree or disagree, if you think there's actually going to be complete disruption of the industry, not in a good way, if Amazon really gets into it. I'm very curious to hear what you think. Otherwise, I'll see you next Saturday. Peace.